Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a defensive backline role combination. And let's get started with an overview. Our role combination for today is the inverted fullback and the libero, two roles most commonly found in a back four formation. In other videos, we've looked at certain role combinations that are maybe unique or complement each other in a specific way. Well, the role combination we're talking about today were literally made for each other. In fact, if we go to the description of the libero, it says this role is often combined with an inverted fullback to ensure there's enough central defenders in the system at all times. And defensively, they're going to function like a traditional fullback and center back. But when you attack, the libero pushes up into the midfield, and the inverted fullback tucks inside to cover that spot. Here's an example of how they work together. This is my other center back on the ball, and we're attacking from left to right. Here's our libero, and this is the inverted fullback. When we get the ball further, you'll see the libero push up into the midfield, and the inverted fullback tucks inside. Now that we have an idea on how these two work together, in the next section, we'll talk about some tactical ideas. A very common way to use these two is in a 4-3-3 formation, but for today, we're going to look at one of my favorite ways to use them. And for that, we continue our South American tour and checking out Santos in Brazil. The tactic is a simple, pressing 4-2-4. Let's first look at how the role combination works in the tactic. This play starts with our goal kick. Here's the libero, and here's the inverted fullback. The play starts, and as we gain possession, you can see how the libero has moved up into the attacking midfield area, and the inverted fullback is acting as a de facto center back. Our marauding center back will end up with the goal. I mentioned how a 4-3-3 is very common for this role combination, because the libero pushes up into the midfield and acts as a double pivot along with the actual defensive midfielder. But the reason why I like using formations that already have two defensive midfielders is that it allows me to bring in another role to use, the segundo volante. You can see that in this tactic, we have a nice little section of balance. We have one role on attack, one role on support, and one role on defend. The segundo volante will get further up the field, the libero will follow in behind, and the inverted fullback provides cover. Here's a longer sequence that shows all three. This is our trio combination. As the play starts and the opponent works the ball up the field, the three are defending pretty normally. When we start our counterattack, you can see the difference in positioning between them. And also how we can get different sections of the field covered. The libero will get the hockey assist for the segundo volante's goal. In the next section, we'll talk about some complementary roles and some other things to keep in mind. The biggest thing to consider when using an inverted fullback and the libero in your tactic is that you are essentially losing a fullback, meaning you are losing the ability to create width from that deeper position. And to talk about some ways to solve this issue, let's do a player role quiz. So, we need roles that are dedicated to keeping the width in our tactic because our role combination are losing width. Can you name at least 3 player roles who specialize in keeping width in a tactic, and specifically roles located on the flank? For me, the first 3 that come to mind are the winger, the wide target forward, and the wide midfielder. There's a couple of other options, but those would be the first ones I think of. Some complementary roles would be holding midfielders, like the anchor, the ball-winning midfielder, and the defensive midfielder. Other than that, you have a lot of freedom when choosing your other player roles in this tactic. The last thing we'll look at is a quick 4-3-3 example since I mentioned it earlier. It's an example tactic that will get you started if you feel like using our libero and inverted fullback role combination. If you're curious about these two roles or any other FM ideas, I've got different playlists that you can check out. I've also got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.